Hello, virtual learners. I'm back with another chapter of our story, Lulu and the Brontosaurus. In the last chapter, we found out that Lulu is missing her mom and dad. She's feeling really bad for how rudely she treated them. She just wants to go home. But what did the Brontosaurus tell her? She can't go home. Let's find out what happens next in chapter 11. The Brontosaurus pulled leaves off the trees and was offering them to Lulu. She grabbed them and threw them angrily away. A simple no thank you will do, the Brontosaurus said to Lulu, and I really liked that please you used before. So please, let me please go home, yelled Lulu. Your yelling is hurting my ears, said the dinosaur, but I have to admit that even if you asked me softly and sweetly, I still would want to keep you here with me. I've been lonely, and a pet is a very good thing. For hours and hours and hours, from early morning till just past noon, Lulu kept telling the Brontosaurus he had to let her go home. And the Brontosaurus kept telling Lulu no. He also kept assuring her that he'd do his absolute best to make her happy. He spoke in such a kind and nice and polite and patient voice, that after a while, Lulu was talking, not yelling. And after a while, she was talking softly and sweetly. And pretty soon after that, she started to cry. Yes, Lulu started to cry. And it wasn't very often that Lulu cried. She'd rather screech till the light bulbs burst and all of that other stuff. But right now, she didn't feel screechy. She felt teary. And so she cried and cried and cried, soaking the Brontosaurus with her tears. He patiently waited as Lulu continued soaking him and the forest floor with her tears. He patiently waited some more, and then he said, I'm sorry I'm making you cry, little pet, but I won't be changing my mind. Would you like a tissue? Lulu now understood that no matter how hard she cried and how nice this dinosaur was, he was determined to keep her as a pet. And she now understood that if she was determined to not be his pet, she would have to escape. She cried just a little bit longer, but while she was crying on the outside, she was, on the inside, making a getaway plan. Sniffing a watery sniff, Lulu said to the Brontosaurus, Thank you, Mr. B. I do need some tissues. If you'll just let me down on the forest floor for a minute, I'm sure I can find a box of them in my suitcase. The Brontosaurus lowered his head and his neck to the floor of the forest. Lulu slid off, stood up, and smiled a small smile. She walked to her suitcase, opened it, poked around for a while, and found, are you surprised, a big box of tissues. But instead of taking the tissues out, she put her sleeping bag in, snapped her suitcase shut, and started running. The Brontosaurus stood stiff and still, as if he had been glued to the ground, and then he started running after Lulu. But Lulu had darted off the path into the heart of the forest, into a part of the forest where the trees grew so close together that a creature as huge as this dinosaur could not fit. She zigged and she zagged and she zigged and she zagged through the close together trees, while the Brontosaurus looked for a space to squeeze through. He was trying his hardest to catch her, as hard as a mountain-sized creature can try. But she was I'm having a hard time. I'm going to go back and try that again, because I've now made 2 mistakes, so I want to try that sentence again. He was trying to catch his... See, I did it again. He was trying his hardest to catch her, as hard as a mountain-sized creature can try, but she was leaving him further and farther behind. Come back, little pet, come back. Lulu could hear him calling, first loudly, then softer and softer. Come back, little pet. I know you'll be happy with me. Come back, little pet. His voice grew even softer, and soon she could not hear his voice anymore. Since Lulu could not hear his voice anymore, she stopped running and started walking. She tromped through the forest in silence, heading for home. But she wasn't swinging her suitcase, and she wasn't singing her song. And although she very much wanted to see her mom and dad again, and very much wanted not to be a pet, she felt kind of bad about the Brontosaurus. So do I. Because even though I'm the person writing the story, I don't like leaving him all alone, sadly calling, "Come back, little pet, come back." Well, right now we're at kind of a sad part in the book, right? Lulu's running away. She wants to go home. She does not want to be that Brontosaurus's pet. But the Brontosaurus is sad and lonely and wants Lulu back. I wonder what will happen next time. Stay tuned and we'll find out more about what happens with Lulu and this Brontosaurus. Until next time.